Hello, my name is SprinkleBeard. For those of you not know me, I am a Twitch streamer. I am kind of erratic about when I stream. Sometimes I stream often, sometimes I don't stream at all. It just kind of depends on what's going on in life. Anyways, right now, I am currently obsessed with a game called Raid Shadow Legends. Pretty much the thing I only have time for right now in my very busy day-to-day. So, with that being said, on this account, I am what you call free to play. I only have one, for the record, I really only have one account. I had an account in the past. I did not spend a dime on it either. But when I started streaming, I abandoned the first account. So I am SprinkleBeard on Raid Shadow Legends. And we are going to be doing a little like tips video or a beginner video. But these are going to be 10 things that as a new player or free to play, meaning you do not want to spend a dime on this game, how to best succeed at Raid Shadow Legends. So, with that being said, let's get started. So, first and foremost, and this is not part of the top 10 that we're about to name, but first and foremost, it is a game. Have fun, play it, enjoy it, do what you want to do. Don't listen to some random person on the internet's advice about the game. You need to play and have fun, and that's what's most important when playing this game. In the event that you do want to buy something, shop is down here in this lower right-hand corner, and the probable best purchase for any player in the game is, I'm looking for it now, and of course I don't see it. Is it in the gem shop? No. So, of course, I can't find it at the moment. Anyways, here's your shop, though. And some of these things you will see are well designed. So, where's my mini? Some things like this, $3 does not look bad at all. And each one of these things is probably over like $2 or $3 individually. So getting like all 8 of these things for the $3 could be good. But the big thing you would want to buy, there's a monthly gem pack somewhere where, yeah, so here it is, the daily gem pack. I'm sorry, daily gem pack. So you spend $10 and over the course of a month, you will get 2,140 gems. So that is probably, if you want to be a very budget friendly player, and you don't want to spend more than $10 on a free-to-play game, because Raid is free-to-play, this would be one of the smartest things that you could spend money on. Probably the only thing I will ever encourage to spend money on if I was to encourage it. So, with those two things out of the way, having fun, and what should I buy, let's get started. All right, so, first of all, Raid Shadow Legends is a turn-based, strategy-based combat, and you can do things like having one champion be really, really good and the rest of your champions being terrible. And sometimes that one singular champion will be enough to carry you through whatever endeavor it is that you should take on. With that also being said, it is not the best strategy, and can also bite you, very easily bite you in the butt if that one person gets stunned, CC'd, somehow stopped from attacking, or they come across somebody who just won't die. But you can do things like this with your favorite champions. It's just a matter of if you want to, why would you want to, things of that nature. So, we are going to talk about the main hub of this game first, which is called the Bastion. So on the Bastion, you have everything you need to go and either play the game or find out more information on the game. The one thing I really think that Raid needs to add to the Bastion, and it would be like right here, would be an index. And, not this index, but a skills index of what certain things mean. Because there's certain things like weaken or strengthen in this game that were not identified on the game itself. I had to go through a third party to find out what they were. We will get into those in future videos. That's not really the focus of the video today. So, in order of importance on the Bastion here, If you plan to play this game longer than 3 months, whenever you earn any gems at all, it would be smart to invest them down here in the gem mine. So the gem mine originally costs 500 to upgrade to get it on level 1, and it maxes out at level 3, each upgrade costing 500. So over the course of, you playing the game, the first 1,500 gems you earn should be placed into the gem mine. And then basically, as long as you log in once a day and collect your 15 gems, in about 3 months, that'll bounce back out. And then every day after that, it's just pure profit. So if you're planning to play the game for a long duration of time, let's say longer than 3 months, the gem mine would be a very smart purchase for you. If you were not planning on using the gem mine, there's other things you can do with your gems. We will be going through those in order. But all of them would be second to the gem mine. Obviously, having more money income is always better. Second here, you have the marketplace. The marketplace sells items, and as you can see, I've been purchasing some things in here. The big thing that gets sold in here that is the most cost effective is mystery shards. We will talk about those in a minute. But mystery shards are kind of the big thing that you would buy from here. Pretty much nothing else would I ever really encourage buying from here unless you say I'm going to use it right now. So these boots, if I needed boots that had attack percentage as their main primary stat, I would absolutely buy these boots and then put them directly on my champion. But 81,000 is a lot. The marketplace is not really known for being very fair with its prices. And on top of that, there's very few things in here that you would want to buy. Shards seems to be like the biggest one. And then certain green champions, we will get into that in a future video, might be worth you buying from here. The occasional gray, if they're like 6,000 and you're trying to complete a quest, that is a later topic in this video. But most of the things in here are not great to buy, but the shards. And occasionally, like at my level in the game, I'm level 70, occasionally I get an ancient shard, and ancient shards are not super hard to come by, but they can be difficult to come by. Oh, I didn't realize there was an event going on right now. Events. We'll need to get into that topic. So, after the marketplace, you have the Sparring Pit. This one I've seen the most mixed reactions on, and when talking to other players, everybody has a different opinion on it. Originally, you can start off and you'll have one spot open in the Sparring Pit, and it will be one of 3. The other 4 will be locked behind gems. I've seen players who have said you should get each of these to level 1, and then after that, they don't really matter. And then you have players like me who are like, well, if I'm going to play the game for a long period of time, I'm going to invest in the things that will help with longevity. Characters that only level up to level 10, you can get them completely leveled up from like 1 to 10 in about 5 or 6 hours. Like if you're there for each level upgrade, obviously the average player shouldn't have that much free time, but if you're going to be a hardcore raid player, and you know that's an option for you. Otherwise, I like to put in some of my higher level champions that I don't touch, or they might be a crafting material. Certain champions can be fused into other champions when you get to that point in the game. I put a lot of those in here that I'm trying to get like up to level 30, but I don't really want to play with them, or I'm busy doing something else. But so your mine, your marketplace, and your Sparring Pit, these are all things that you would do like on your overworld. The forge is where you can craft items. Now you don't really get access to this until you're like level 20. And these sets can be quite amazing. As you can see, I have not done a whole lot of crafting, so I'm trying to save up my materials. But I have done some crafting that was very worthwhile for me. But now I'm out of this gemstone, and unfortunately, I need to do some game progression to find this gemstone. So it's something that you will not have tons of access to. This core hammer is a reward that you can get easy enough, but since you need to use 10 of them, it's not super farmable. And, you know, endgame players will complain that it is the hardest resource to come by, is these core hammers. When you're first starting off, I would ignore the forge. You don't know what stats you're looking for. You don't know what stats are great or what's good or what champion scales best off of what. So for that reason, the Forge is pretty ignorable as a new player. Your Tavern. Tavern is one of the most interesting places in the game. So here you can upgrade the level of a champion. So just as an example, if we come down here to Sister Militant, you can either sacrifice other champions if you want to clear up some space to your main champion, and your main champion will gain the experience of, depending on how many stars are in the champion. Man, there are a lot of basics that I need to cover in this game, actually. So I guess maybe as I do more videos, I'll start covering more of the basics. But you also get these brews throughout playing the game, which are worth 18,750 experience. So if you're trying to level up a champion, this is a place you can do it. When a champion reaches their maximum level, so in this case, level 20 here, they can no longer reach their any higher level at this rank. Because she's 2 stars, she can have level 20. For each star is 10 levels. So if I want to upgrade the rank, I have to click on upgrade rank, and now I have to feed her, because she's 2-star, I have to feed her 2 more 2-star champions to rank her up. Doing this will reset her level to 1, which is not a big deal. It's very easy to level champions in this game. But then she'll have 3 stars, so she'll have the potential to get up to level 30. And when she's level 30, she has higher stats, higher offense, defense, HP, blah, 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 blah. Sometimes certain characters will get additional stat bonuses, which happens more closer to like your level 60s. Some of these champions will have increased accuracy for hitting level 60. So there's reasons that you would want to keep ranking up your champions the longer you play the game. Upgrading skills. This is something that I heavily overlooked at the very beginning when I first started playing the game, and I think is probably one of the most valuable things in this game. But what you can do here is, if you have a champion, you will be gaining books throughout the game. So you can either use books that will increase the damage of a skill, or their buff or debuff chance. So this skill has a chance to put my opponent to sleep, even though it's only 10%. But if I gave enough books where the book goes into the right skill, those buff chances can happen more frequently, or the damage can go up. And that's probably the most important thing. I feel like a lot of new players don't know where it is, or don't know who to use books on. We will get into that as time goes on. But instead of using books, if you have a champion like Diabolist here, where you can farm multiple copies of this same champion, you can use the extra copies as books, which I think is a brilliant mechanic. And I wish more video games would kind of do that. I think it's a really smart use of, if you get a duplicate, or a dupe as the community calls it, but you can level them up. And here is that perfect example. Where was she? She was like level 19, I think. So I think she's 3-star. There she is. Here I have her fully upgraded, and her basic attack just attacks all enemies, but doing an extra 5% damage, and then an extra 5, extra 5, extra 5. It adds up very quickly, and the damage can get quite obscene versus it just being a level 1 skill. So there's times where even a gray champion like Sister Militant can be quite good if you spend your time and your resources, understanding those basics of the game. Ascend. So Ascend is a really cool and interesting concept in this game. There's times I like it, and there's times I don't like it. So here we'll use Zargala. Or Zargala, whatever you want to call her. I call her Zargala. Anyways, so here is the number of stars that she has. So she's a 4-star champion. The reason why 1 is purple is because I've ascended her 1 time. Ascension gives extra stats, so there's huge incentive why you would want to ascend. Usually, depending on the champion type, they will get those bonus things like HP and attack for an attack champion. But the bigger reason is, if you go into their skills, here we can see a little exclamation point. Here it's saying her ascended skill. So if we ascend her 3 times, instead of her attacking all enemies 2 times After the first hit, has a 50% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. Instead, it's going to do it 3 times. So really, really big difference there. Some champions will unlock a new skill altogether. So here we have a Chuck, the Wanderin, or the Wenderin. I think he's supposed to be a play on a Wendigo. But here he unlocks a complete passive. So his passive is that he'll heal all allies by 5% of their max HP every time an enemy under an HP burn gets a turn. This can be quite good. It can be an amazing thing. He does have HP burn in his kit, so he synergizes with himself. You're not forced to play with just a Chak and try to make his skill set work. You can combo him with certain other people that do HP burns. So somebody like Bulwark, who has a very high chance, 75%, and then when he's booked, becomes a 100% chance to HP burn. We will get into battle details in another video because it's not a true 100%, but you get the idea. So the way Ascension works is that you only would really want to ascend your favorite champions or champions that you're actively using, but you would click on Ascension or Ascend, and then it tells you the potion requirements. So I need 7 and I have 187 available. You can always mix potions. So if I want to, I'm very stingy with my potions. As you can see, I could easily, purchase any of the potions that I need. Apparently I need to farm more of these greater blues and greater purples on this account. Anyways, find the potions that you need. And what I love about this game, it does not cost me any silver to do this. But here she got an HP buff up and an attack buff up. And even though only 12 attack might not seem like a lot, it really adds up, and like things like crits and whatnot scale heavily off of the base damage. And here you can even see increase to basic stats, and it's even telling me a skill will also upgrade here. So there is a great job of clarity that Plarium has done. So I really appreciate that. That is it for the Tavern in terms of what you would use it for. Up here at the top, we have the Great Hall. Your Great Hall is kind of the PvP of the game. So in this game, there is an arena where you can battle other teams that players have set up. However, it's not true PvP. It is AI controlled. So you could go against my team, and my team will just do what it wants to do. It will use its best skills first. Or if a character dies, it might res them first before using their best skill. Sometimes the AI is great. Sometimes it's quite awful. Anyways, as you complete wins, so when you're in bronze, you earn bronze medals. When you're in silver, you earn silver medals, so on and so forth. What's nice is the higher up you are, the more medals of that thing you will earn. So like in silver 2 here, it goes silver 1, silver 2, silver 3, silver 4, then gold, blah, blah, blah. Pardon me. But you can spend your medals here. And what's great about the Great Hall, this affects your entire account. Doesn't matter if you're in the arena, outside of the arena, if you're doing something else, if you're doing the campaign, or you're farming a dungeon, whatever you are doing, these stats affect your entire account in all situations. I haven't talked about the basics because most people who've played the game understand some of the core basics. I will do a basics video in the future. But champions are divided into 4 categories: magic, spirit, force, and void. As you can see on this account, I have a much heavier inclination for void. I've gotten some really good void champions early in the game, so most of my medals have gone into making my void champions a bit better, which have carried me to a point that now I can focus on my other champions quite easily. Because right now I'm in silver 2, all of my champions are getting 8% to their HP, attack, and defense. So the arena is something not to sleep on. I'm going to cover it a little bit more later in this video. Actually each one of these should just probably be its own video, but it's my first video. This will be a nice long 20-minute, 30-minute video of me just explaining everything on the Bastion. And also, this is teaching me that I've heavily underestimated how much information there really is to share in this game. I'm so glad I brought 2 drinks upstairs. So the last thing I haven't covered is the portal. So the portal is where you can crack open your mystery shards. Now, this game is heavily RNG based. So if you hate RNG based games and you're like, I really have skill and I want to show off my skill, this game could be very frustrating for you. But if you are like Forrest Gump and you never know what you're going to get, and that is the life you want to live by, this game can be quite amazing. It can be quite fun, and the RNG factor of the game can feel amazing at times and feel incredibly woeful. Oh my gosh. Glad that's going in the video. But as you can see, I just cracked open a shard, and I got a gray champion, just a common champion. He specifically is quite terrible. There's like 1 or 2 good gray champions. I know most people will disagree with me and say there's only 1. I believe there is 2. We'll go over that in a future video. But what's nice is, like, here you can look at their skills and see what you got. And when you're first playing the game, when you're first playing the game, it's nice because as you encounter these champions, you want to read what they do. It makes you think about where they might be good. Or when you don't have a well-balanced team, when you get your first spirit champion, it is nice. You're like, oh, this is great. The biggest thing that I think most people need to understand about the portal is each weekend, which is very nice about this game, they usually have some type of event going on where you might have 2 times the chances. So here, instead of me only having a 0.6 or 0.5% chance of getting a legendary, they have doubled the chances. So instead of this being 91.5 and this being 8, I now have much better chances of pulling an epic or a legendary champion. And then there is a pity system in this game. So if you've opened, I think it's 200 shards and have not gotten a legendary, the game does have a pity system where it will increase your chances of getting a legendary for every shard you pull until you pull that legendary, and then it will reset. So it's not super unforgiving. And for a free-to-play player, there's ways that you can kind of manipulate that. So instead of having only a 0.5% chance, which would mean 1 out of 200, you should get a champion. If you only wait for ×2 weekends and pull on those weekends, well, now you have a 1% chance. So realistically, after 100, you should pull. So there's a little bit of intelligence that can go into the game. Obviously, though, you can pull void shards. This is what lets you get void champions. We will go over in a later video where to get each of these shards or where they drop, so that if you're looking to farm these specific shards, you can, technically. Really, just the mystery shards and the ancient shards are the most farmable. These other ones are kind of like rare drops that, yes, you can get. They're not most dependable, and there's not a guaranteed way. Some of them are like once a day. So you'll get there. You'll get there, and again, there'll be a future video talking about free-to-play and how to make the most of these. Something really cool that this game does, they have fusions. So if you want to fuse Relic Keeper, who I think is actually quite amazing of a champion, and even better is that as a free-to-play player, I think he is I'm really sad that he's not one of the daily login rewards. So this game has a reward every 30 days when you log in. So when you're a new player, just logging in once a day can get you very close to getting some champions, including even like legendaries and epics. But to me, he is actually the perfect champion. I really feel like they missed just giving him to everybody at, like, let's say 3 months. Because his passive is for the campaign. And then he actually has a secondary passive where if he gets damaged, he can gain a continuous heal. So every time it's his turn, he will heal himself for 15% of his maximum life. But this does have a cooldown. So it's not just like every turn he gets hit. It has a duration. So like you can get it down to 3 turns where it will feel like every turn he has it up. And then he actually has a way to get extra turns. So he could easily heal up 30% and then get this off of cooldown if he kills enough enemies back to back. So if he attacks an enemy, and if he kills a target, he gets an extra turn. So he's actually a really cool, interesting, really good because he doesn't require accuracy. Again, we'll talk about this in a future video. But I would say if you ever have the materials to fuse him, he would be a very smart champion. And actually, I just realized that I have these 4. I should probably start staging these 4 up for my account. However, there is a mission or a challenge, if you will, for me to fuse him, so I have to wait until that point. Rosin Scarhide is one of the best champions in the entire game. He's very frustrating for me personally as a free-to-play. And as you can see, he takes a bunch of rare champions. And yes, you can get these epic champions, but they're epics. They're equally as rare to get, so there's not a guarantee that you will get one of them. But the game is nice enough to let you fuse them to get them. These red dots mean that I do own these champions. But champions like this, I do not have. So I need to either pull a lot more mystery shards or a lot more ancient shards in order to try to get her so that I can then fuse him and then be a little bit closer. And then this guy's actually farmable, which again, I really appreciate that they even tell you in the Swords of Arnok, you can just keep grinding those levels until this champion will eventually drop for you. And then Broadmaul, who's eventually a support. Big old gator girl or guy. I don't care about the gender. I like the way that they look. But Broadmaul is not considered the best, but if you were lucky enough that you got these champions very early on, or let's say you were like, I love the fusion mechanic, I just want to fuse. So you got all of these champions set up, you fused them, and you fused right into Broadmaul. You get an epic very early in the game. So I think it's a really clever thing that this game does. Another thing that I really like this game does is it has fragment summons. So as you play the game, there are events and tournaments that happen, and in those events you can earn shards. So here you can see that I have 30 shards for Skimfos here. I have 80 shards for Burgoth. And as you collect more shards, they will start to gain color to the point that you can finally gain that champion. Majority of these are a one-time deal, but the whole point is it's another way for you to get certain legendary champions or certain epic champions. Sometimes you miss events, sometimes the events are yearly. It just depends. And even some rares. These are obtainable through the arena, the tag arena specifically, and we'll get to that at some point. I have definitely overwhelmed myself with this video, so I think I'm gonna maybe tomorrow re-record this because I'm already seeing I'm running into a lot of issues of things I want to go into more detail, or I'm like, oh, if the person doesn't know this, it's going to be really hard to follow what I'm teaching. We'll get there. But that is it for the Bastion. What I think I will do is maybe I'm going to, yeah, since I've definitely overwhelmed myself, I think I need to stop recording. Let's do that first.